Hello and welcome. My name is Tyree Hastings and I am the percussion professor at the University of Texas at Tyler. And today we're going to continue on with our fundamentals of percussion. And we're going to move on from the last video. If you didn't have a chance to see it, please go watch that. Because what we're going to do today is going to build on some of the things we talked about in the last video. Today we're going to cover stroke types, and we're going to cover accents and rebounds, and we're going to cover something that I think is very important, which is the purpose of stick height. And so first, let's just get started with our stroke types. So there are 4 basic stroke types, and I'm going to play them isolated, but I'm going to talk about how they don't really exist by themselves. But I will play them isolated so you can see how they work. The first is a full stroke. So a full stroke starts high and ends high. Then we have a downstroke. Now that's going to start high and it's going to end low. So you have 2 stroke types that start high. That was the full stroke and the downstroke. Now we've got 2 stroke types that start low. The first one is a tap stroke, which starts low and it ends low. And then we have an upstroke, which starts low and it's going to end high. All right, so when you are playing a passage, you can isolate the passage down to its stroke types, because stroke types do not exist by themselves. A stroke type always leads to another stroke. What that means is that if I play a full stroke, it ends high. So that means it has to lead to a stroke that starts high. There's only 2 strokes that start high, another full stroke or a downstroke. Now, if you play a downstroke, it ends low. Then it has 2 counterparts as well. There's 2 stroke types that start low, either a tap stroke or an upstroke. If you play a tap stroke, it ends low. Again, there's 2 counterparts that start low, either another tap stroke or an upstroke. And then if you play an upstroke, it ends high, which means that there are 2 counterparts to that, and that is either a full stroke or a downstroke. So if we take 2 stroke types, we're going to take the downstroke and we're going to take the upstroke. This is commonly referred to as an exercise called bucks. A lot of you in your drum line, you'll have some sort of exercise where you have accent, they'll say accent tap, but really what it is you have downstroke, upstroke, downstroke, upstroke. Right? So this exercise called bucks. Now you have downstroke, upstroke. What you'll notice is that constant motion, which we talked a lot about in the last video, stays intact. You still move constantly. Even during the downstroke, we'll do a slow downstroke. There's a recoil off the drum, and I may exaggerate it a little bit, but I'll do it fast so you can see. There's a recoil off the drum, and when we do that recoil, the stick stays in motion. We're not restricting the motion at all. So, 1, it stays in motion. 2, the stick height doesn't have to equal the volume. The only thing that equals volume is your velocity towards the drum head. So, your velocity towards the drum is the most important factor in determining your volume. So when we play bucks, we can change the velocity towards the drum head of each individual stroke, but keep the same motion. I'll demonstrate. So I went through every permutation there of accents, and you can see that I can change the accent to whatever I want by changing the velocity of the stroke, not necessarily by changing the height. This does not mean throw out what you're being taught, or you may be being taught. Some people teach this and some people don't. Some people teach, especially in drum lines, they'll teach 9 inches is a forte stroke. So I'm here to tell you that 9 inches doesn't have to be a forte stroke. However, It doesn't mean that that's bad. What we can use stick height for is we can use stick height to improve our tone on the drum while increasing the volume of the stroke. Because when you start from a higher stick height, you increase the velocity of the stroke naturally. All right, so now we're going to talk about accents and rebounds. If you look at the book has, the newer books, if you have a really old book for accents and rebounds, it doesn't have this in it because it was edited and added later. But the newer book has stroke types in it. So it has these arrows, and the arrows indicate your stroke types, and the lines indicate taps. So you have an up arrow as an upstroke, you have the up and down together as a full stroke, you have the tap stroke, and then you have, I think did I cover all of them? Oh, downstroke is just a down arrow. So, if you take the bossa nova pattern, which is this, you take that bossa nova pattern, you can then apply the stroke types to just one hand. If you take just your right hand, then you end up with the stroke types of your right hand ending up being a downstroke, a tap stroke, upstroke, downstroke. And I'm just going to stop there. I think you'll get the idea. So you can take any passage that you're playing, whether it's in your marching band music, whether it's in even the TMEA or ATSSB etudes. You can take a passage and you can isolate it down to the individual stroke types of each hand. And when you do that, you can really focus on the motion and the tone that you're producing from each individual hand before you put them together. And then when you put them together, it's going to be that much easier to accomplish something that seemed much more difficult before. So right now, we played the bossa nova pattern and we played it alternating. But what if we don't play it alternating? What if we play it as right, right, left, left, right, right, left, left, but we still keep the bossa nova pattern? It's going to sound like this. And this is where stick height is not going to equal volume, because you'll notice that the stick height doesn't stay consistent, but I'm getting a fairly consistent accent sound. So. And I'm trying to keep as much as possible the constant motion. Now, let's talk about when we rebound and when we don't. So at that speed, I'm not using very much rebound off the drum. Instead, I'm staying relaxed and playing it as if I didn't have the sticks in my hand. Right? And I can do that because it's not very fast. Now, if you play it faster, then you might have to start using rebound. But all this to be said that don't use rebound when you don't need to use rebound. A lot of people, they spend a lot of time worrying about how much rebound to use too early. Instead, don't use rebound until you start needing to use rebound, which is when things get too fast, or you can't continue to do it and stay relaxed. At those moments, then you need to start using rebound off the drum. And we'll talk about, in the next video, I'm going to cover how to play a double stroke roll. And when we talk about a double stroke roll, I'll talk about some techniques to practice using the rebound off the drum. But you can take accents and rebounds, and if you start practicing those slowly, so that you get the right motions and you're getting a good sound, and you speed them up, that will also help with your rebounds. So, if I play it fast, I have to rebound, and that's going to look like this.